What's up, human beings? I'm here to explain the magic that was fueling my rocket engine. Next video, you'll see me struggle with fueling my rocket engine. Alright, so, main goal. What, how, what, when, who are you? Who are you? What method should I use for fueling the rocket engine? The method I decided was fuel grains, which is basically little segments of fuel that I put into the rocket engine and use some sort of adhesive between them in order to fuel up the rocket engine, instead of pouring it directly into the rocket engine or compressing it or whatever. Get a piece of paper, super high technology, I know, right? You get a piece of paper just like this, and you cut a little slit across it. Semester grades. Oh, don't worry about this. Get a little segment of this, about 27, right? Yeah, 27 millimeters. I did like 29 at first, but I had to sand it down a lot in order for it to fit into the rocket engine, and that just took forever. This little slit of paper, you gotta get the graphite rod. You know the graphite rod in the last video that I was talking about? Get a graphite rod. 23.5 millimeters about that fit inside here. Yeah. You get that graphite rod, and then you roll this around it. Around the graphite rod. And then you super glue it at the very end of it so that it stays in one piece. And then you got the tube that you poured the fuel in. Find a metal rod or tube or something that is the same width of the nozzle for the rocket engine. Let's see, where's my rocket engine? Oh, there it is. Have it the same width of this nozzle to where it can fit in there. Alright, I use those rods, and then I get a mold, a 3D printed mold. And you put that tube of paper into the mold, and in the 3D print, I have a small little hole in the middle right there that can fit that rod. So then when you pour in the mold, it's got the little hole already molded into it, and it's me from the future. Alright, I would just like to explain what happened when I tried to use the fuel grains that I just explained to you. Cue montage of that. Never mind. That's not center. This plastic is melting. Time to find another freaking solution. Nice. New design. Made out of resin this time, and also a little top piece to flatten it out. And yes, these are drill bits. These ones aren't really long enough, because I suck at estimating lengths. This drill bit was kind of in the way, so I spilled it all over the freaking place. Everything is sticky. Another new design. First of all, I got a cast iron pan, because that has the heat survive a long time and it's super handy. This time I have a nail covered in a piece of tape so that it's the correct size as well as the correct length. And also elevated so that it can heat up the molds and let the fuel flow a little bit easier. Well, would you look at that? The resin is melting. Yeah, there was a lot of struggling. It melted, it broke, the rod wasn't long enough, the rod melted the plastic, and then the resin melted, and just, oh my goodness, so many flippin' things happened. You wouldn't even understand, even though I just told you, so you should understand. This happened over the course of a few days, but I eventually got it. I eventually figured it out. And that is to have a copper coupler around it, because the resin slightly melts, so the copper coupler kind of holds it in place. And on the inside of the mold, wherever the fuel is touching, I put Vaseline, because that helps it pop off and, work better. But in the middle of me struggling to mix fuel grains, I did get a couple of fuel grains that were kind of okay quality, and I tested how they burned, and they burned as I expected, the inside out. And then I did another test where I glued 2 of them with wax and put it inside of a glass tube to simulate it being in a rocket engine. Well, the wax melted. Surprising, isn't it? Wax melting. Wax doesn't melt. Who would have thought? Well, I did some YouTubing, and I figured out that the stuff that I randomly found in my room, this silicon or silicate, this high temperature silicon, is able to do it. So I did it, and I was like, you know what? I don't get rid of this crappy glass test tube, and I put it inside of the rocket engine. I did it. I put it inside of the rocket engine, and I struggled a lot with putting in the nozzle, but I eventually got it with the little screws and trying to find how they fit. And when I got it, I put the igniter in there and ignited, and it had a lot of thrust. Yeah, it pushed the concrete block as well as pushed the clamp out of the way, and I'm glad I didn't use my new test stand. It would have broke. I thought of a solution. That solution was to widen the hole. Oh, also, the nozzle broke, so I had to make another one. But as I made the other one, I made the nozzle bigger to a diameter of this amount, and future me here to explain the engine test that I forgot to put into my video. So I went ahead and used that engine with the bigger nozzle, and it was beautiful. It did great. And I don't know exactly how much thrust it did, but it seemed pretty good. And I decided to do it again, but well, I'll just let my past self explain that. Put it in there and I tested it again, but for some reason I couldn't get the fuse to ignite. It just wouldn't light. The fuse would just not light, and I took it out, but the part of the fuse was left in there, so I just took out the wires that I had that were just lazily wrapped around the heat wire, and then I did it again, so there were 2 pieces of fuse in there, and then I put it in there again, but with a different design. I don't remember what design I had. It's all a blur. But this time it worked. But since all the pieces of fuse were in there and all that poop happened, the burn time took a lot longer and was inconsistent. The burn time was 50 seconds. That's a little bit too long. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll just do it again, but have a better fuse design. So that's what I have right here. You'll be seeing that test in the next video. Technically, I already tested it, but I'm not gonna add it to this video because by the time I finish editing this video, the rate of me editing it is at the same rate of me testing it, so this video will just take forever to make. Anyway, yep, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video in the different style. Blah blah blah. It's me from the future. Peace.